All right, good evening, everybody. How's it going today? Looking like we've got some snow moving in down to the southwestern parts of North Dakota right now. And then we also got a wind chill advisory off into the parts of the northern parts of the valley, where we're going to be having some um cooler, obviously some colder temperatures overnight, just because we have got a high pressure system that's basically settled in. And what we're looking at right now is the current wind chill. So you can see currently right now we've got anywhere from the uh, teens to single digits below zero. Not a whole lot of winds with this at this time. As I pull up the wind gusts, nothing really pops up. But really, what's going on is we have around 10 to 15 mile per hour winds. So that's just enough that even with our temperatures, our current temperatures sitting around anywhere from 5 above to 8 below, that gives us our cooler wind chills of 18 to 20 below. So we're looking at the possibility actually overnight, once we get into the later parts of the night, anywhere from 30 to 35 below in some areas across the north. So that's why that advisory is out until 9 a.m. And then as the snow that I mentioned down in the southwestern part of the state, um, right now, it is mostly snow the way it looks. We've had some rain the way it was looking on some of the cameras when I was looking earlier tonight. And that has mostly transitioned over to snow, I believe. As we take a look at the actual radar coming out of Bismarck, you can see that snow kind of sliding down to the south and east as it moves, transitions through the area. As I pull up our little precipitation depiction, it still does, it shows everywhere's got snow. So I think that's probably the case for the most part right now. You do see a little bit further south, kind of in between that Buffalo and Bison area, some mixed precipitation showing up. And that may play a factor a little bit later in the night, as this precipitation is actually expected to very slowly move off to the north and east. So it's possible some of this area down here could just slide into the southwestern portions of the state late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and create, give some slipperier conditions down there. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But otherwise, I think for the most part, what's out there with the snow here is very gradually going to move to the northeast, and it's going to remain as snow as it does so. So taking a look at our current road conditions, everybody's, it's looking pretty good across the state, actually. Some scattered ice down here in the southwest. I think some of these are going to start to change. You'll probably start to see some of these road conditions update a little bit, just because, as you can see here down in Amadon, down in the southwestern part of North Dakota, they're getting snow. Very obvious here on the old camera down there. Take a look at the Bowman camera. Obviously some snow there, and I believe in one of these I could find a little bit of snow on the roadways as well. With these conditions, I would think they're going to be changing down there. I think the roads are going to be getting even more slippery, or just at least a little bit snow covered down there. So some of these greens that are currently down there will very likely change in the overnight hours. Otherwise, the rest of the state's pretty good. Off to the east, we still got some scattered snow and ice in places, but generally, most of the state is in pretty good condition. Minnesota, same thing, just some scattered ice here and there, kind of between the Detroit Lakes and Monoman area, and then further north, maybe some light ice on the roadway north and east of Thief River Falls and on up to the Roseau area. And as I mentioned, winds fairly light, kind of circling out of the north, and then moving into more of an easterly direction as it heads into the southwestern part of the state. All right, that low pressure system that was going to be affecting us this weekend, here it is just off the coast, and it's going to make its way onto land over the next 12 to 24 hours is what we're looking at. Out ahead of this, here's a little trough that's kind of swung through our area. There was some areas of precip in central parts of the state today and last night, and that's this little trough here is what helped cause some of that. So with that kind of moved away, we're kind of in between things. So we've also got this ridge sitting here now over the top of us. And with this precip that's kind of down in the southwestern part of the state, just underneath that bubble. Now, it's expected as this trough moves to the east and this low pressure system that's going to be affecting us this weekend continues to dig and move further eastward. This dome of this little ridge here is expected to also move eastward. So uh, as that happens, this ridge will actually wind up, looking something more like that. And this precip down in the southwestern part of the state will move off to the northeast very gradually once this ridge, eventually slides to the east. So that's basically what we're looking for over the next 24 hours. Um, just with that snow that's down in the southwest gradually moving off to the northeast. One more time, here's our temperatures. Here's the overnight. Some wind chills forecasted. This is as of 6 a.m. rather, Thursday morning. You can see mostly in the minus 24, 21, minus 36, and then some minus teens off in the Turtle Mountain areas. And then obviously as you get further down to the south and west, things get a little warmer just because that's just how things have been. The temperatures gradually warm up. Tomorrow night won't be quite as cold as we get into Friday morning. Again, wind chill wise, this is we're only looking at single digits, maybe some teens below zero in the far northern parts of Minnesota, but otherwise not quite as bad of a morning. Tomorrow morning, this Thursday morning will be one of the colder nights for at least for the next few mornings anyway. All right, here's that system that's currently just down to our south and west, or southwestern part of the state. And as I said before, as that ridge continues to move, kind of slide to the north and east, that snow kind of goes with it. Now, mind you, even though this doesn't depict any snow at this point in some of these regions, I would expect to probably still see some very light snow, some flurries possible, or still, within that region throughout the day on Thursday. So even though not really depicting any snow, just know you might pick up some flurries, but really not expecting much in the way of accumulation. Now, as it does kind of move further to the north and east, and as that ridge moves east, the snow does actually pick up a little bit. So once again, once you get into that Devil's Lake region, then into eastern parts of North Dakota, just like the whole remainder of this winter's been, accumulations start to happen. Now, not really expecting a whole lot with this, maybe 1 to 2 inches here in the northern, very far northern parts of North Dakota. And then obviously overnight, just because we do have some of this lingering down in the southwestern parts of the state. And it's going to take a little bit before that does eventually start to transition to the north and east. Some accumulations are also possible down in the southwest, but not a whole lot there either. Maybe a couple inches overnight and into the early morning or into the morning hours Friday morning. Now that system basically moves to the northeast, and we are in between the next one. Now here you can see again just a quick little accumulation wise, 1 to 2 inches maybe in the north, maybe an inch or so down in the southwest. And you can also see that the models do depict maybe just a light dusting everywhere else once this little area does move off. Here we are Saturday morning. Here's that low pressure system expected to be just kind of on the border of Nebraska and Kansas. Really, this is the latest model that just came in this evening. No precipitation really showing up at this time. Now, if I do back this up a little bit, there are some areas in the northern parts of Minnesota into northeastern North Dakota where they could have some light snow. But also note that throughout the time frame Friday night into early Saturday morning, they are depicting maybe some light precip down in the far southern parts of Minnesota. Now, that could be some drizzle, some freezing drizzle. But there is the possibility that some of this low-level moisture really works its way in Friday night into early Saturday morning and could cause some slippery conditions within that time frame already. Now, as that low starts to kick out a little more and we start to draw a little more of that moisture off the Gulf, and we get some of that kind of entrained within the system itself, well, now we're starting to see some more precip out ahead of it and then also carrying in behind it. We're seeing by this time, here we are at 3 p.m. on Saturday, some snow worked its way into, or is expecting to work its way in through South Dakota and in through much of southern North Dakota as well. As we move this time frame along and we get into Saturday evening at 6 p.m. It is now kind of in the northern parts of Iowa, the low pressure system, with plenty of snow across the Dakotas and into eastern Dakota, North Dakota, northern Minnesota. And finally, once you get into Saturday night into Sunday, most of that precipitation kind of flies on out of there. All you're left with a little bit for Sunday morning is maybe some strong northerly winds. All right, we're just going to take a little bit deeper look into this low that's coming in for the weekend. Here's just a little animation of the differences between the same model that came in this morning and then this evening. So the one where the low is just a little bit further north is this evening, and then the one that came in this morning is just a little bit further to the south. You can see the differences as it flips and flops. You know, and now this is just within a 12-hour time frame. Not a whole lot of difference in the grand scheme of things. I mean, you're only talking, what, 75-mile difference, maybe 100 between these two. But there are some other things to note, and just the amount of warm air that maybe works into portions of Minneapolis, because that will have a major impact when it comes to not only just people on the road, but also, there might be people trying to fly in and out of Minneapolis as well. So I do like to talk about some of this stuff down in Minneapolis just because we do have people flying down there. So do be aware that, here, this time frame is already Saturday evening. So as I mentioned before, we might have some drizzle, freezing drizzle Saturday morning. And then with this model, it's kind of flip-flopping as to how warm it's really going to get in the day on Saturday. Is it going to be rain or is it going to be freezing rain? Even this particular model is kind of bouncing back a little bit from run to run. And the other thing to note is just how far north some of this snow, or back to the north and west, some of this snow gets with this latest run. The latest run does push that snow a little bit more into central parts of North Dakota and a little bit far in the northeastern parts of North Dakota as well. So again, just a little bit differences in between just model runs from day to night time thing. Now here's a difference in the amount of snow that is currently predicted in some of the very latest models. As I just kind of click through these, you can see just the variability. Here is the one that came in this evening, and you can see where most of the snow is being predicted down in the southern parts of North Dakota and then through central and west central parts of Minnesota. But as we kind of click along here, you can see the differences of where some of these other models might be showing the snow to fall. So just be aware, I showed you where that low currently is. It's, we're still sitting off the Pacific coastline. So it takes a little bit for these things to really catch on to what's going to happen, especially it needs to get on land because we have a lot more observations going on. And it takes a little bit. It takes about 12 hours once it gets on land for the models to start to pick up on all the land sensors and everything that we have going on out there. Now, we've gotten a lot better out in the ocean, but nothing beats what we all have going on once it makes it on land. So over the next 12 to 24 hours, things should start to clear up a little bit more. All right, as we do take a look at to continue on through the time frame through our region as the storm kind of develops here, you can see the snow pushes into South Dakota and through the day on Saturday, and then into southern and eastern parts of North Dakota as we get into Saturday night. This is 6 p.m. And here you can see where, it's depicting some of the snow and then the rain, freezing rain and sleet. So just keep in mind, as I've said before, it looks like at this point at 6 p.m., the freezing line's somewhere sitting in here. So maybe just along or just in the northern parts of the Twin Cities. It's going to be close, folks, as to how much freezing rain and sleet the cities will get. I will say this model lately has maybe underdone the warm air. So I do think maybe once we get through that early morning hours on Saturday, I think things should warm up enough that most of this will be rain. But we'll have to keep an eye on it. I think once we get through Saturday morning, any kind of precip that occurs later in the day on Saturday, my feeling would be it would probably be more on the rain side than the freezing rain. So, but just something to be aware of. We'll have to keep an eye on it if you are traveling down there, if you're flying down there. do be aware of the potential of flights coming to a halt down there if it does indeed get some freezing rain. Um, all right, and as we take a look out beyond that Saturday evening time frame and let my computer kind of catch up here, we're back to our longer range models. You can see once again that snow kind of pulls on out Saturday night into Sunday morning, and then all we're left with is probably some strong northerly winds. And here are the winds forecasted for Sunday morning at 6 a.m. And we've got, in the mid 30s across the valley and then down in through southern and central parts of Minnesota as well. So it does look like, as it's been going on quite frequently in the valley region, that we'll probably pick up some gusty north winds, 30 to maybe 40 miles per hour, the way it's looking right now. So any snow that does fall with this over that Saturday to Saturday night time frame, I would think we're probably going to be seeing some reduced visibilities, and especially down, I'd say the best chance would be down in the southeastern parts of North Dakota with this, just because we're going to be having some strong northerly winds, and I think that's the best chance for where some of that snow is going to occur. So visibilities will become a problem um, Saturday night into early Sunday morning. Those winds should die off quickly, though, as we kind of move things along here on Sunday. You can see the pressure gradient does relax. That high pressure starts to move in, becomes a little more of that dominant force here. And there's these lines are a little bit further apart, especially as you get into the North Dakota side of things. So I would expect, as you get into the afternoon hours into Sunday, things are going to be getting a little bit better when it comes to the winds. Now, as we move, just kind of continue things along here into the future, we really don't see much in the way of snow, maybe a little bit on Tuesday. But the main thing really that we're going to be getting out of all this is just that high pressure kind of settles in there. And what we're dealing with more so is just cold temperatures here. So here we are at, this is, and what we're looking at is the 24-hour maximum temperature. So the maximum temperature over a 24-hour time period. So as we just kind of click along here we are Tuesday morning and Tuesday evening, we're still in the 20s. But then as we get into Wednesday and into Wednesday evening, things actually start to cool off a little bit. And then Thursday, we're still in the teens in the north, maybe some 30s down in the southwest. This is Thursday night into Friday. And then Friday evening, still 30s to single digits. And Saturday, right now, this model's showing even bigger cool down for next weekend. And as we kind of click along the picture, you can see, over the weekend, that's when the colder temperatures hit. Try to warm back up a little bit into the next week. But like I always say, we're getting out there quite far, so we'll see what really happens. But at the very least, what we can take out of this through the most of the week is we're going to be seeing high temperatures in the 20s to single digits throughout much of the state for a good portion of the week. And as we take a look at just, we've mentioned before these low pressure systems that we're expected to eject out because we're a little bit more of an active pattern. Well, they're not really affecting us because that high pressure system, that high pressure really kind of settles in over us. Other than that one low that kind of moves through on Tuesday, here we've got this high that sits in through here. But just note, I'm going to hit play here and just note the system that just basically come through the south. Other than the one that moves through our area over the weekend, everything else kind of stays to the south. So I'm just going to hit play. You can see here's one. Here's another one that tries to develop. And we're back to the beginning. Here's our little system that ejects out. And then one to the south. Another one down to the south. And another one down to the south. So it's looking like that active weather will stay to our south. And for the most part, we're just, other than that one low on maybe on Tuesday, kind of being dominated by some cold high pressure. All right. So that's the update right now. Once again, down in the southwest, you guys just be aware of any changing road conditions. Let's see if there's been any change on the actual website, if they've changed anything down there. Everything's still kind of green, still showing some scattered ice through portions. What is that? Like Glenelg and Mott area. But anyway, otherwise they're still showing green. But as I said before, just because of this snow down here that's showing up on the radar, yeah, I think some of those roads are going to change. You're not going to see green there all night. The good thing for you in like Bismarck, Washburn, Underwood, Watford City, those of you further north, most of the snow as it does move to the north and east will decrease in intensity, and probably you really won't see much in the way of any type of travel impact. So just beware down the southwest, and then later, let's see, probably Thursday night across the northern parts of North Dakota. And then we just kind of wait for that system to come in on Saturday. All right, there you have it, folks. Stay warm for those of you in the Valley region. Just a reminder, once again, the wind chill advisory with lows of minus 35 wind chill wise, and that's ineffective until 9 a.m. And that's all I've got for you. Have a good night.